So in this video I'm going to be showing you how I made a decorative cover to replace the more standard kind of run-of-the-mill metal covers for baseboard heaters. There's a couple different ways you can do this. I decided to make it pretty standard for my sort of woodworking practices. Obviously this is fitting into a certain space. It's part of a built-in, it's part of a bigger project that's already on my channel. It was enough of a standalone piece that I decided to make a separate video for it, but I'll show you my dimensions and you can modify it pretty much any way you want, because I'm assuming most people will not have theirs nestled in between cabinets. So you can see I roughly drew out my dimensions. I pulled the dimensions after the cabinets were in place so I could get a nice tight fit, and all of my verticals partitions are going to be about 4 inches, and all of my parts, once everything's done, my widths are going to be about 1.5 inches. You'll notice on the part that you see, so the front side, not the top, I make the bottom a little bit thicker, and that's just so that when I go to cut out the pattern to make the feet, everything ends up being about 1.5 inches. So these measurements, I just kind of designed it in my head. I didn't want the pieces to be extremely thick. I wanted there to be enough metal exposed as possible, because that's the whole point of the metal, it's decorative, but also for the unit to have enough wood that it was structural and sturdy for the space. So all I'm doing now is taking poplar. That's what I do. That's the hardwood of choice when I'm doing paint grade pieces, and just rough cutting all of my pieces down to size. Now my long lengths are cut to final size, but all of the pieces that are going to go in between those are roughed out, because at this point I hadn't decided how thick my groove / mortise was going to be. So the top I designed a little bit differently than the front. The goal was to have as little exposed end grain as possible. Even though this is a paint grade project, I didn't want a lot of exposed end grain. So the top I made so that the long lengths are not interrupted, so the end grain is cheated to the ends, and then the bottom I made so that the sides don't have exposed end grain for people that want to are making it so it's not in between a cabinet. When you see it from the sides, you won't see end grain lumber. So basically I'm cutting a groove in the middle of all of my pieces. This groove is going to serve 2 purposes. I'm basically making this entire thing to connect with exposed mortises or grooves and tongues on all of my verticals, which will fit inside those grooves. So longer tenons, and then I'm also going to be rabbiting out that material for the metal to go in place. So I cut the groove as the starter for all of my pieces, but also when I get it to the router table, I don't have as much material to remove. So you can see the top is a little over 5 inches. It's about 5 1/4 wide, and I like to build as I go. So now that I have it set at 5 1/4, I can see the width I need for these pieces. So you can see on there I marked how they have to be cut. Like I said, everything was oversized, so they can be cut, and then I can put the tenons or tongues on them. Then for the edges, same things, but this one, the tongues are going to go on my long lengths, not on my edges. The edges will stay the grooves, but same process. I'm going to line them up, mark where they meet the end of the both tongues, cut all those pieces down to size. They're all going to be the same length, and then once those are all cut, I can put the tongues on there and everything will snap together in place. So that is also what that looks like. So like I said, I'm putting the tongues on my partitions for one, and then the tongues on my long lengths for the other. And while that all might sound a little confusing, like I said, the sole purpose of that is to cut down on the exposed end grain. So there are all my pieces set up. And then I just did a test cut of this. I cut these on my radial arm saw. Can raise the blade really easily, dial in exactly how thick I need that tongue to be, and get a nice tight fit. So you could switch out the regular 1/8 inch curved saw and put a dado stack in there to make this work a little bit faster. For just cutting a couple pieces, I usually opt to just keep my regular blade in there, and all I have is a stop. So I have the stop set up so that it's going to cut the same thickness for all of these tongues. Like I said, I did a test cut to get everything dialed in, and then like I said, on the top piece, the tongues are on all of my partitions, so those can now be fitted into place. You can see how the middle one has double tongues on theirs, obviously, so it can hold the metal from both edges, and I could just dry fit all those pieces together. And you can see the ends of this are the one spot where I do have exposed end grain, but cheating it to the sides is preferable. If you're not making this to fit in between two cabinets, you can easily just make a side piece to cap off both these edges, and then that's how I would do it if I wasn't fitting this in between cabinets. So that is what that looks like, and then I could do the same thing for the bottom. Now in my shop, I do enjoy solid joinery. That's not a dig at people that don't build that way. That's just how I have opted to do things. But for a piece like this, I especially decided to really do solid joinery for all my pieces, not rely on butt joints and screws, even though it would have been a much faster project to do it that way. And that is because if you watch any of these videos, you know I talk about how relative humidity affects anything that you build. As wood either gains or loses moisture, it will expand or contract. If you design something and build it the wrong way, it could actually start to fall apart at worst. At best, it'll still be affected by those seasonal changes, but you'll start getting gaps in all of your pieces. So something that is going to be centered over a heating unit is going to be subjected to those changes at an extreme level, because being right by the heater means you're going to be pretty much zapped of humidity right by the heating unit in the winter time. So this thing's really going to shrink, and then the summertime it'll have kind of the opposite effect. And since it's centered by that heating unit, when people are talking about all this movement, that's where it's going to be the most extreme. So it was really important to me to use solid joinery. If you don't want to do that, you want to use butt joints, you could make the exact same thing. All of these joints would just be butt joints. Since this is a paint grade project, realistically speaking, if you have even a little know-how, after a year or so, or sometimes the gaps pop up pretty quickly, but I say a year because that's a natural course of the changes of the seasons. You can just putty any gaps you get and fill them, and then paint over it again. So the router will then finish removing the rest of the material on the back side, which will create an open rabbet on the back side, and that is where the metal will fit in. And then, like I said, this front part essentially is going to have 3 feet, which is going to be the bottom of these vertical partitions. In order to get those long runs cut, I just lowered this onto my table saw, and then I could finish it with a jigsaw. And then you could see now that that thicker bottom, that 2-inch bottom, is now 1.5 inches because I removed a 1/2 inch worth of material, and now that thickness matches the rest of the piece. Just use a roll of tape to make a really quick arc on the edge, and like I said, remove the rest of that material with my jigsaw. Could sand all of this, which I don't think I filmed, and then cut the metal. The metal for this is obviously decorative metal. This is what the customer wanted. I've seen some people finish off the parts where the air comes in and out with different materials. This stuff isn't cheap. I think it was like $50 for the whole sheet. Luckily, I only needed one. But if you're doing a bunch of these, it will get quite expensive. You can consider different designs in order to finish off the parts where the air needs to circulate. But this metal will now fit right into that rabbet, and then from the front side you won't obviously see any of that. It will be totally enclosed. And then I'm only priming this. Same thing with the built-in. They're having a professional painter come in and paint the whole thing. I did not know if they were going to paint the metal, So I would have probably done this regardless, but all I did was put some pressure fit cleats in the back to hold everything in place. So if they had to, they could remove the metal. It'd be a little bit of a pain because I fit this in place and I caulked everything around it. I do believe it's one of those rooms where they're painting everything the same color, so I imagine this will all get painted the same color. But if something happens over the course of time, for some odd reason this does get damaged, that metal is removable, which is why I spent the time to cut all those rabbets versus just stick the metal in a floating groove, which you could do as well if you don't think you'll ever have to remove it. I just attached the two pieces really simply with cleats because this is nestled between essentially 4 walls and only exposed in the front. Because you're going to have the back wall, the floor, and then the 2 sides of the cabinets. It doesn't need a lot to hold it in there, really set in place kind of by itself. So I just used 3 cleats to join the 2 pieces. Like I said, I was priming this for them, so I primed it in the shop. And then I just put 2 cleats on the wall as well, so that back portion will sit on those cleats, and essentially the whole thing just slides into place. I gave myself a very small amount of play on either side because obviously you wanted this to fit. It's going into a room, so while my cabinets are fairly square, that doesn't mean the floor or the walls are. But once you could see the baseboard and stuff goes into place, a little bit of caulking, it fit in there quite nicely, covers that unit, everything lines up nicely. That's obviously before I finished. And then this is what everything looks like with all the trim, and like I said, they are painting this whole unit. If you're interested in how to build a built-in, I have that posted on the channel as well, but it ended up being a nice little unit to kind of cover all of that heating without resorting to using that kind of standard played out metal style.